Hi, my name is Neil Ticktin. I'm the editor-in-chief and publisher of MacTech Magazine. We're here this week in San Francisco at the Worldwide Developer Conference. TUA and MacTech together are doing interviews with developers to find out what they thought about the keynote, how it impacts what they're doing, and a little bit about what their products are doing as well. Sitting with us now is Joel Vincent from Aerohive. He's the Director of Product Marketing. And Joel, thanks for coming and joining us in here.
Thanks for having me.
I think a lot of people may not necessarily know who Aerohive is. So why don't we start off with, tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing right now, and then we'll jump back to the keynote.
Sure. Aerohive is we're a company who what we say is we're simplifying enterprise networking, and what we do is we've created products that are self-organizing and cloud-enabled. So our primary products are wireless LAN products and routers, right? Usually remote office, branch office routers.
Right.
Basically, when you're accessing the enterprise network, we want that access to go through our products. And what we do is we use these technologies to allow you to simplify the deployment and the use. So the APs and the routers are self-organizing. When you bring them up, they get their configuration from our cloud platform.
Right.
You've kind of pre-configured what you want in the cloud. Your security policies, and quality service policies, things like that, gets pushed out to the APs. When they come up, they form a hive, hence the Aerohive,
right? Yeah.
And they share each other's services with each other.
Right.
So they say, if you have a wireless LAN in a remote office or a wireless LAN in a headquarters, if you put in a 3G WAN connector into one AP, they all go, okay, there's a gateway to the internet, and they can all find their way
back out.
Yeah. So that's what we say is self-organizing, and then the cloud-enabled part not only does that initial configuration, but then regardless of where that your hives are on Earth,
right,
you can manage them from a single interface, and then the cloud provides extra security capabilities. We partner with other cloud platform providers like WebSense, and that allow you to do web filtering and things like that. So it really takes a lot of the difficulty out of deploying a very distributed enterprise where you want wireless LAN for all your employees.
Right.
It can be a teleworker or a one-person office,
right.
all the way through headquarters.
So basically, if you're a consultant or a network consultant out there, an expert on doing this, or even somebody that's supporting small to medium-sized business out there, this is a good way for people to go ahead and for the consultant to go ahead and configure the stuff. They don't even have to be there necessarily. They can just ship the boxes and plug it in, and they can administer it remotely. Now, for like schools and stuff like that are always budget conscious, what happens if I assume that there's like an annual fee kind of thing or some type of license fee over a period of time that you guys are going to be there.
Well, the management platform is effectively a SaaS. So
right, so software as a service.
It's going to be a software as a service, and so that is billed on a per element basis that you're managing.
Right. And if for some reason, if you're a school and you need a budget cut, and you need to cut that off, will the hardware continue to work and continue to be deployable?
If you pull it down, if you want to take that, you can disable the hardware remotely.
Right.
If the cloud is disconnected for some reason, so you bring up schools as a good example.
Right.
Sometimes the WAN links are not
Right.
reliable. If the hive gets cut off from the cloud, it continues to operate full security policy and everything.
Yeah, so a lot of times the schools in the higher ed, they're always worried about that. I don't want to commit to the next 10 years of budget on this, so at least they have an out if they have to. They still have an investment that
absolutely grows with your need. That's the elasticity of the cloud. You have the APs. You're only buying as much as you need. You're not going to buy into a big investment up front, and then fill it as you go along. This is more flexible than that.
So, tell us a little bit about what you guys thought about the keynote, and what do you see as the impact of some of the stuff that was there yesterday? Because obviously you're going to be looking as a networking company. You're going to be looking at the keynote a little bit differently from a lot of people.
Well, for us it's huge. I mean, the big impetus for us, particularly as an access company, is the fact you've heard about the BYOD trend,
right?
Let's
heard it like we're living it.
Exactly. The reality is that it's not just bring your own device. And by the way, 85% when they say BYOD, they mean I want my iPad at work, right? But corporations are actually using the Apple devices, and we're more interested on some of the enterprise announcements, the things that affect the enterprise. But corporations use these iPads and things to replace other devices that were highly specialized laptops and things like that. So they kind of lock them down, and they want to be able to use iPads in a hospital for an EMR you know, an EMR, an emergency medical record application,
Right,
or in schools. I mean, name a school that's not talking about issuing iPads.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
So what the magic that Apple does in your house with okay, I have an iPad and all the services magically appear on your iPad.
Right. Bonjour. Yeah.
The Bonjour services. They expect that experience from the devices in the enterprise or in a school, and the problem is that Bonjour as a service is not really designed for a big network with lots of routers in it, and you know it's designed literally to not jump through your router out onto the internet.
Right. It's gonna contain itself to within a subnet.
Within a subnet.
And so it's not going to go out beyond that subnet, because
Right.
that's typically what's just fine in a home kind of setting.
Exactly.
But it's atypical in the enterprise setting,
Yeah.
because there's a lot more going on there. So.
Yeah, so the interesting thing for us on the keynote is to see the evolution of Apple, of iOS 6, of you know, Mountain Lion coming out and doing the AirPlay. All of these things have a big impact on enterprise because of the extremely fast growth of Apple in the enterprise.
Right.
So for us, we kind of have to look at these devices coming in and go, okay, we're supposed to be the intelligent access layer and simplifying things. One of the most difficult things, because of the way Bonjour works, is, okay, I got my iPad and I set up all the security stuff, and we've onboarded your iPad into the enterprise. The first thing you're going to ask me is, okay, how do I print?
Yeah.
And in an enterprise,
of course, it's in a different subnet right out of the gate.
Yeah, that's a much more difficult problem than you'd realize unless you were an IT. You know, you're the guy actually pulling the wires and setting up the routers. So one of the announcements that we're making and we have made and it'll be shipping this month is we call it a Bonjour Gateway.
Right.
So it's a functionality we've created to actually simplify that BYOD.
It's the glue
usefulness.
it's the glue necessary to make BYOD work in the enterprise kind of setting.
For any Bonjour supported devices, but let's face it, we're talking about Apple and iOS.
Exactly.
So we watched the keynote carefully to see what they're doing, and you know, the most interesting parts for us was to see Mountain Lion now supporting AirPlay, and you know, obviously the iPads and iPhones and iOS 6 doing more. But those are, for our customers, those services are good, not only for printing. There's interesting applications that are happening with even an Apple TV in an enterprise.
Right.
So an Apple TV sitting next to a projector is much easier than carrying, you know, a dongle and stringing the cable over, you know, and each dongle is $30. One Apple TV is $100.
Right.
Put one in each conference room, and
You're done.
and you're doing presentations from
as
your
long as you
iPad.
can handle the Bonjour side of it. So.
Exactly.
Well, it was great having you. Thank you for stopping by and,
Thank you.
giving us your
Appreciate it.
opinion on it. My name's Neil Ticktin, and these are the TUAW MacTech interviews at WWDC. Thanks for watching.